How are you guys?
Very good, thank you.
Hello guys.
How are you?
The Lord of the Rings, I can't believe it that this is happening again. It's like a dream come true because I'm a huge fan of the saga. I don't know, what about you? Where were you when the Lord of the Rings came out?
I was with my flatmate. She was a huge fan at uni. We lived together, and she was a huge fan of the movies. And so she would make me watch them like literally every weekend. We would just circle and circle and circle. It just felt like a seed planted in that moment, and now my eyes, ears, everything is open to learn, and I've become a new fan of these incredible works.
Comienza nuestros días de paz.
Lord of the Rings is back now with this version, with this let's say this story before all the things that we know. So what do you think to be part of this universe? Maybe you're born with all the other trilogies. I don't know. How was your experience before to be part of it?
So I was read the books as a child, and then saw the films when I was 11. So like the perfect age to be just completely like. And so yeah, to be in Middle Earth, it feels like a fantasy in itself. I'm so grateful to be part of it, and it's just been so much fun. We were playing, there's magical creatures, you get to ride, you get to fight. Yeah, it's a dream come true, really.
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience. It's just to be a small part of the massive world of Tolkien, right?
Yeah.
And all the other adaptations, and just to sort of add our own little bit to it is a real privilege. I was a Tolkien fan, but then it wasn't until I became a part of this project that I really understood the depth of the work.
¿Lo has escuchado? ¿Sabes quién es Sauron?
Did you put something else to your character or your kind of character, you know, the race that you represent? Something that you imagine that can build more the character that each of you play?
Well, luckily for myself and Soph, that we're given a circumstance where that's different to the movies. So we have a very domestic life.
Yeah.
We have children. We're married. We've got the first, female dwarf to be featured in Tolkien's work. So already we're kind of starting on a different foot, and thankfully we've got lots of hours to kind of dig deeper and explore further.
Yeah.
Right.
How about you?
Well, it's a good question. I like to think of the films as kind of Middle Earth as an adult.
Yes.
And what we're doing is thousands of years before. It's right at the beginning of the Second Age, and it really is the coming of age over the course of the next few seasons of Middle Earth to become what we thought we knew before. And so I like to think of the characters. I mean, my guy is thousands of years old, but still he is relatively inexperienced in relation to where he's going. And there's something about when you're a teenager or when you're young, being impulsive and angry and upset, and falling in love. When you're an adult, you have enough sense to quit doing that stuff. I mean, you don't. You never learn. But the first time you do it, the first time you have your heart broken is when you're an adolescent. The first time you find something that you love so much that you become obsessed with it. Yeah. So that is an exciting time for people. I mean, to us. It's an exciting time for these characters, and it's an exciting time for Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Creímos que nuestra alegría no tendría fin, que nuestra luz jamás se extinguiría.
I think the people that I know that later in life are the most chilled and serene often have been through a lot. And so that was fun with the Gladial, who is in the Second Age, kind of pushing her to just extremes, knowing that at some point she will become the wise, peaceful Lady of Lothlorien. In terms of what we bought ourselves, I'm Welsh. I grew up speaking Welsh. There's lots of singing in Wales, and I think there's a lot of that in Tolkien's work, like connection to song and history and dance. And so just was basically just by being there was bringing parts of my culture to it, which was really nice.
I think you can only bring your originality and your own ideas to the role. So I think that I started just by working off my instinct and seeing where that would take me, and then layering on top of that instinct, layering all the research and stuff, and then just putting it all into a mixing pot basically and seeing what you end up with.
Yeah.
And I think naturally you bring something unique, right? Because we're all different and we all bring in a little part of ourselves to what we're doing.
Busca la luz y la sombra no te encontrará.
There's a lot of new characters, but there's a lot of things for the fan base that are already in the world. They are watching a lot of things that they can remember or relate it to. So I have some elements here. Just across here.
I thought it was a baseball bat.
Yeah, and I'm gonna show you, and you can tell me more about the character in this new version.
Where in the world did you get that?
This is Sauron. So what can you tell me about Sauron?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, he's the embodiment of evil. You know, he descends from the first of the Valar that fell, and he corrupted the elves, and he's the Satan of Tolkien's stories. And like evil, he's constantly regrowing and shedding skins and becoming something else. That it is the continuous fight and our continuous journey. I mean, Tolkien understood this about humankind.
Yeah.
That unless we continually push for the rights we deserve, for our happiness and our well-being, it will slip away. And he is the embodiment of that.
Ha llegado Gladial, el momento que temíamos.
I remember the first time that I watched the trailer from the first trilogy, I was like, this is amazing, because they announced the three movies together. Mm-hmm. And now with this new series, at least I know that it came for sure like 3 seasons, maybe 5, I don't know. So it's a long-term story. Yeah. You can talk about a lot of things and be very specific of each character.
Yeah.
So do you know what come for your character, or you are discovering just in the page in this time, in this
It's a bit of
season?
both.
Yeah.
A bit of both. So we know what happens, because at the beginning of The Lord of the Rings, we see Isildur cutting the finger off of Sauron.
With all these rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that these rings are going to be made, and it's going to change the course of Middle-earth. And I know that Gladial is going to get a ring that is going to change the course of her life and change like the essence of who she is. But it's how we get there that we learn as we go. Mm-hmm. And it's quite fun. I think it feels like we'll get so excited when the new pages and new scripts coming out. So like, what's it going to be?
Yeah.
What about you? You like spoilers, or you just
I mean, naturally, I seek the spoilers. I try and find out as much as I possibly can. But I think any information that is withheld, like at least from us as actors, is for a good reason and with good intention. And it's a challenge as an actor trying to have to navigate something when you don't quite know, even if you know where you're going in the long run, you don't know the specifics of the twists and turns, because we're trained to, you know the start and you know the finish, and then you add your color to it in between. But it also makes you practice just like being present and dealing with what your character's dealing with that day.
¡Juntos sobreviviremos! Peleen conmigo.
This is the sword of the king.
Can I?
Yes, of course. So, what about the humans? I can see not too much humans in the story. What can you tell me about the kings?
The humans?
And the humans.
They're so flawed. I mean, at least from an elf's point of view, they're just the frailest. I think Gil-galad would agree with me. They're the frailest creatures on Middle-earth. They're the most easy to corrupt. But they make really cool weapons.
Yes, of
He
course.
looks quite heavy.
There's
It looks heavy. Yeah.
you know this one? Dwarves?
Oh, sure.
Keely and Feely?
Oh, where's that?
You know, she learned blacksmithing for the job. I'm not joking. Like,
Yeah. She
Really?
can smash a heavy hammer, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Look at this.
We're going to watch the doors like in the I don't know in the best version of the army, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
They're at their peak.
What can we expect about it?
They're in their prime. They're in their prime. We have only ever seen them in a tomb or heard about them, or you know, it's always history, what happened, and dust, and the demise of. And now we see them. Now we will see them very much alive and in colour, in positions of power. Prince Durin is heir to the throne.
Well, it's quite a peaceful time now, so the need for big weapons is, I mean, they're there, but they're not used right at the top, you know, at the beginning, so.
El mal no descansa. Espera.
Tras la penumbra nos tienta.
The fights are very important in this kind of movies. So your training, I think that was a tough one. So how was it? Did you enjoy it? It was a natural thing for you, or it is a new thing that you learned?
I'd never done any fighting before. I'd mostly been attacked on film, not been the attacker.
Just to scream and
Yeah,
that's all.
exactly.
Scream wrong.
So that was really fun to do that. Charlie's very good at.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're a natural.
No. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I mean, we trained so much. We
Yeah.
learned it from the basic through to the quite complex by the end. But it was for good reason. There's a lot of fights in the show, and there's a lot of it's very physical. And I mean, we did some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Nothing to remember. Some any scar. Or...
Well, I mean, no scars
There
that
is
I
one,
know
this
of. Oh yeah, actually, I mean, you're welcome to tell that story. I don't
Yes,
mind.
please tell me.
No, we tried to make a stupid fight. I tried to make a stupid fight. And I got a little cut here. And it was like the tiniest little cut, but it bled obviously so much.
Yeah.
And so I was down like this and just came up and there was just blood everywhere. And poor Charlie was just like
Well, it was quite funny
then it
because I
was
was like,
this big.
the sword just like ding, and I was like, oh, what's happened? And I was like, oh, and you were like, oh, and I'm like, she's just hamming it up a bit, and then she looked away and just blood.
And the production, it's going crazy, right?
Oh, you do
Yeah.
not want to
Well,
be
yeah,
the
I
guy that does that.
I went to the doctor and everything, being like, probably gonna need stitches. And he looked at it and he was just like, this doesn't need stitches. You are 100% completely fine. I was like, okay, thank you very much.
But of course, you don't want to be the guy that hurts the
I know.
the star of the series.
It was big, and then like a few
Not the
moments.
face.
a few moments later, one of the stunt people said, "That's the first ever injury that's ever happened on my watch." And
Yeah.
like 2 weeks before, I'd sprained my ankle.
Yeah, so then you were
In
like,
stunts.
wait a second.
Cada quien decidirá qué queremos ser.
Last but not least, elf sword.
Oh yeah, look at
This
that.
is from the
Not the most practical. Really.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cross between a cutlass and a bad hand guard. Pull on that.
There's always this relationship with. There's always this love and hate relationship between elves and everybody else.
Sure,
right?
but
Why is that?
what's beautiful about it, and uniquely elvish, is that their connection with language and their embrace of language as a weapon for light. That they believe that language and music connect them with the Valar, and through beauty. Like, I mean, this doesn't look like a lethal weapon. It looks like something you can hang up over your fireplace, but it is a lethal weapon.
It looks quite
Especially-
dangerous to me, mate.
No, but I just mean that this has a
There's
tarnish.
beauty,
It's clear
yeah.
what the purpose of this is.
yeah.
Like, you could make the case that this is ceremonial, because why would you use this type of metal? What is the point?
Yeah.
And the point is going right in that guy's. But no, I think they're beautiful, and I'm excited to see what they cook up for us.
No tiene un nombre, sino muchos.
Thank Thank you guys.
Thank
nice
you.
to meet you.
This is incredible.
Thanks
It's
for doing
amazing.
these. I promise we'll take good care of them.
This is fun.
And